What is going on, guys? Odd Legend back with the video today, and I'm going to be ranking the best bronze fighters for new players to the game and just experienced players that want to find out the best bronze fighters. But I'm going to be making this list in mind for the newest players to the game. So budgeting is going to be a factor. It's mainly just going to be the best affordable, accessible fighters to the beginner players, because I know a lot of people that make bad choices with upgrading the worst characters when they start because they don't know how the game works. So I'm here to give some tips and guides about the best ones for your money that will be usable throughout your whole playing career. So before we get started, there are a couple honorable mentions. Nonsense double, a bronze, very good. That's an honorable mention for the top 5 bronze fighters. She's very, very good against buff-heavy opponents, and I know buffs can be a big problem, especially for beginner players who don't have as many options to deal with them. So Nonsense is a great way of dealing with buff-heavy fighters. And also Headstrong Cerebella. Headstrong Cerebella is just a staple, great Cerebella. She's great at dealing with armor fighters, which are also a struggle for beginners, especially, along with just everybody in the whole course of the game. So Headstrong Cerebella, a great choice for dealing with armor fighters and just a staple Cerebella in general. Oh, hey, my kitty. My kitty's joining the video. But yeah, those are the 2 honorable mentions. So without further ado, we're going to get into the top 5. And these are just being ranked on efficacy in general. There are a couple different strategies they go about, and they're all offensive fighters because defensive fighters are mainly only usable for rifts, and beginner players will not be playing rifts, so these are basically all offensive fighters. And at number 5 we have Coulson's Beowulf, and I know mine here is Diamond, but it's the same thing. It's a bronze fighter, it starts as a bronze fighter, so Coulson's Beowulf is the number 5 spot. Now this was tough putting him between him and Cerebella, because Cerebella can dish out more damage in my opinion, and also she has the armor break, which is very useful. However, Coulson has a very good ability of being able to stun the opponent for 6 seconds when you throw them sometimes, and also he will deal bonus damage to stunned opponents. So this is very, very useful because a lot of Beowulf's moves are grabs, and if you can hit a grab or just hit a regular grab, because he also has hype mode that you can get unblockable grabs during, and if you can hit the grabs and stun them, you can sort of like pseudo-infinite them if you get lucky enough, because just hitting the stuns is very important, and then they'll stand up and you can just hit them again and then grab them as soon as stun ends and fish for continuous stuns to keep them in the stun animation. It's not an infinite, but if you get lucky with the stuns, it can go on for a long time, depending on what moves you have equipped to him. And also, yeah, he deals bonus damage when stunned. As for marquee ability, I would definitely say Defending Champ, because you're going to be wanting to play well with Beowulf. So obviously, as beginner players, you're not going to have as much accessibility to marquee abilities, because they require your fighter to be fully maxed out before you can unlock them. But Defending Champ is the one you want to go with, because you want to be playing well with Beowulf and be ahead in health percentages most times. As for stats, attack 100%. You definitely want to lean toward attack. HP is fine. Defense is fine. I would actually recommend accuracy, because it will help you land the stun. It'll help you land the stun against opponents, at least. Yeah, I think so. So it'll help you land the stun against opponents, which is very useful for him, especially at beginner levels where you're going to be stunning the opponent as much as possible. Piercing is also great to annoy the defense and armor of opponents, and attack is always your staple. Meter gain is also very, very important for Coulson's Beowulf. As for moves, the chair is just always good on all Beowulfs, but because this guy relies on grabs, you're going to be wanting to going with the grab moves, like where is it? Wolfmania. I don't know where it is. No, I don't have one. But you're going to be wanting to use Wolfmania. That's a great one. Wolf Shoot is also very good. Wolf Shoot, because it counts as a grab. Lupine Pommel is very, very good as well. Definitely going to want that on him. And I believe this Gatish, yeah, I think this is also a grab, so you're going to want to use that as well. Those are just great moves to have on him. The grab ones are going to be the ones you want more often, obviously, because they have the better chance of proccing his special ability. So that's number 5. He's just a straight up offensive damage dealer. Moving on to number 4, I put number 4 as Beatbox Bigband. I should have one here. Beatbox. That's not the right one. Beatbox Bigband. Now, what's great about Beatbox Bigband? He's also just a pure offensive fighter, damage based, like Coulson's Beowulf. But what's great about Beatbox Bigband is that he can just rack up damage very quickly. His abilities give you enrage every time you use a special move, and then you gain 15% for your blockbuster meter when using a special move as well. As for marquee ability, this doesn't matter as much because it's not even an offensive marquee ability like Beowulf's was. It's a defensive one, so you're going to be using it even less as a beginner. But I just honestly, I'd probably go with whatever one you use more. If you pretend to solo with him more, go soloist. And if you bring teammates, go with frontman. It's not a big deal either way, to be honest. As for moves, you definitely want. Okay, I went in order. I'm gonna go to stats first. Stats, you definitely want attack. Attack is great. You do not need accuracy on him really because he's not debuff based like Coulson's is. Coulson's has a big aspect of him is debuff based, so you don't need to land the debuffs. So you don't need accuracy on him. Piercing is very good though because it'll go through defense and armor. Piercing, attack, and especially meter gain is also very important. Not as important because his special ability will actually help you gain meter, but it is very important as well. But attack, piercing, great moves, great stats to have on him. And also, defense and HP are not bad either. Those are never a bad choice. But you want to focus on the offensive stats first. Now, a lot of his gameplay, I skipped through his overview pretty quickly because a lot of his gameplay revolves around his move choice. Because you need special moves to be able to grant enrage to him, which is just going to be a big thing. Because enrage obviously boosts your attack, so you're going to use special moves to boost your attack and get off long, big damage combos with him. So best moves is him definitely Symbol Clash. Symbol Crash is a staple on all big bands basically, but it works especially well with him because it's a special move. This is not bad. Sweet Clarinet, if you can combo with it. It's a little bit hard to combo with though, so not for most people. This punch move is not very good because you can't follow up off of it and take advantage of the enrage it gives you. I think maybe, is there one big band move that I don't know? Giant Step. Giant Step is not bad as well, but it's a little bit hard to combo with. So the main ones you're going to want are Noise Cancel and Symbol Clash out of the special moves. You can also bring more than one Symbol Clash if you want because there are opportunities to use them quite often in his combos. Big band combos with Symbol Clash are very, very varied. So yeah, you're going to want to bring a lot of special moves. Sweet Clarinet is also not bad because you can combo them out of anything that knocks them up in the air with this move as well. Yeah, and then for blockbusters, obviously Supersonic Jazz is very, very good. So is Beat Extend because you can combo these together. Take the A Train is obviously a staple. This thingy, I don't know if I have one. I think I don't have one. Oh no, it's here. This thing. Tiffany Drive. This thing's pretty terrible. It's hard to combo off of. I think you only get a guaranteed combo off of Supersonic Jazz. So if you want to build your moveset around comboing off of Supersonic Jazz, then go ahead and bring it. But otherwise, it is not a very good move because it's very hard to land. But just as a staple or as an idea, you could do something like block them with Noise Cancel, Light 5, Launcher into into Symbol Crash, and then into Supersonic Jazz, and then Tiffany Drive to finish it. Just a staple combo. And then generally you'll also want to bring an unblockable with him, unblockable blockbuster. Tuba or Strike Up the Band. I don't have a preference really. They both do a good job at what they do. Tuba might be a little bit better. But yeah, you'll definitely want to bring A-Train, Supersonic, Beat Extend. All of his blockbusters except Tiffany are great choices, but you're going to want to lean a little bit heavier on special moves, especially Symbol Clash and Noise Cancel can work very well. So that's going to be how he goes, his general overview. And he's just a pure offensive fighter. We're going to move on to number 3. I don't think I did that one too well, but it's okay. Number 3 is going to be Badhair Filia. Now, I know everyone is probably going to yell at me for not putting this at number 1, but I'm doing this in terms of beginner players. And Badhair's true power shines when you can have her bloodletting marquee ability, the first cut, which will transfer her bleeds into permanent bleeds. Albeit some new players will be able to get the first cut unlocked. Most people will not right at the beginning because it is pretty expensive. Even though it is only a bronze fighter, it's still expensive for beginner players to marquee their fighters. So for most of the, obviously when you get marquee, you 100% want to go the first cut instead of bleach. But until then, you're just relying on inflicting bleed when you hit them and an increased crit rate when the opponent is suffering from bleed. Now, the increased crit rate does not really matter because Badhair barely does any damage at all. She's not like Goldstones and Beatbox. She is purely debuff based, really. Purely debuff based. However, her debuffs are insane. So, because she can bleed out your opponent so well. So when it comes to stats, you're not really going to care as much about attack and piercing. If you can get them on there, it's not a bad choice ever. But it's not your primary one. Primary is definitely accuracy is a very good one. Meter gain is also a very important one on her because you're going to want to build up your blockbusters to hit them with multiple hits and stuff and get your combos longer. HP and defense are not bad because you're going to try to survive things. But it's really just accuracy is great, meter gain, and then whatever else between HP, defense, and attack and piercing you can fit on there. The stats are not as important on Badhair because it's mainly relying on her abilities to carry you. So when you get to moves, you definitely want moves that hit a lot of times. Drill Tempered is very good. French Twist is a necessity basically because you can cancel it into blockbusters to continue combos, and it has a chance to inflict bleed, which is the whole basis of Badhair. And also Gregor Samson, very, very, very good. You definitely want this move. It's a great combo move, and also it has a chance to inflict bleed, which is what you go for with her. Hairball, solid, just a solid stable move, always a great choice. And if you need, this move does inflict bleed with no spike, and also Relationship does not inflict bleed, but these two are not very good because they're hard to combo with, so I don't recommend those. I recommend the French Twist, Gregor Simpson, Drill Tempered, I'm trying to look, this move, I don't know how to pronounce it, but this is not very good on her because she does not do a lot of damage. This move is better on offensive damage-based Filios, not bleed-based Filios. As for unblockables, you can go with Thinner Drive because it can do more damage if they have bleed on them and also hit more times. But if you need a little bit of blockbuster control, then Blowout is her only access to blockbuster control, blockbuster meter control. So you can go with either one of those. But definitely Gregor, Drill Tempered, Hairball, and this one, French Twist, are all very, very good moves on her. As for playstyle, you're just going to want to use her character ability to dash in and out a lot if you can. Avoid getting hit because she's very squishy, but just get long, high hit combos on your opponents to really take full advantage of the bleed, and then just watch them fall. She would be number 1, I would say, if she has Marquee consistently, but for beginners she doesn't, so I'm going to put her at 3. At number 2, we have Rusty. I believe I have a Rusty here, yeah. A Rusty, and she is like Badhair, but a lot more consistent for beginner players because she can do more damage. She can do more damage by far, base damage, not counting the bleed. Her bleed does not come out as often as Badhair's does, but her base damage. Wait, no, it might upgrade to more often than Badhair's. I don't know. Her bleed is not like better than Badhair's, but she can actually do some damage herself as well. And also, she has the added benefit of when hitting your opponents and inflicting bleed, it will also convert their buffs into bleed, which is huge for beginner players, especially who have a tough time dealing with a lot of buff-heavy opponents. So Rusty, fantastic fighter. When you get to the Marquee ability, I recommend going Grudge because it will allow you to survive getting hit, because the armor will build up and tank the hits for you, and also it will grant you Enrage. You can go Tainted Blood, but especially when fighting at a deficit like a lot of beginner players will be, Tainted Blood, like letting your opponent hit you, reflecting a tiny bit of damage back, it won't reflect back enough damage to matter. So I recommend going Grudge to save you with the armor and also in range if you do happen to get hit. And that's if you get there. It's not the most important in Rusty. It's not like Badhair days where it's very important to have the marquee ability. So you're just going to want to hit them with long hit combos, long hit count combos to have the most chance to inflict bleed. And you're definitely going to want to bring her and abuse her against buff-heavy opponents. When it comes to stats, obviously piercing and attack are very important because she can actually do a little bit of damage herself. As for accuracy, that's also very important to land the bleeds on your opponent. That's very good. Defense is actually quite good because if you do end up having her marquee ability, the more defense you have built up, the better the armor will stack and protect you when you get hit. But it's not very, very important, but it can be quite good. So defense and HP are never bad, but the main focus for her is going to be offensive. So meter gain, accuracy, piercing, attack. Those are going to be the main stats you're looking for on her. And as for moves, you definitely want to go with high hit count moves. Ignore this thing, Bogus Stinger, unless you really want to go for the infinite combo, or the pseudo-infinite that you can do with it. It's not very good. It's hard to do, and it's not consistent. But Pinion Dash is never bad because it chunks a lot of health, but I think you'd be better off with moves that hit a lot of times. Cruel Lily, an amazing move that leads to blockbuster finishes, and it also inflicts bleed, which is a point of her ability. So Cruel Lily is amazing. Violet Glitch is pretty terrible though because it's hard to combo with. So Cruel Lily is great. I'd shy away from Fracture Reaper and lean more toward Beware Thresher for her because it hits a lot more times and it supports her with armor break against armor fighters as well. So I would lean toward Beware, however you say that, I don't know. Thresher, this is a very good move. Cruel Lily is also amazing. Death Crawl, insane amounts of hits. It hits a lot of times. This movie is a staple on her. Really, really good. Really, really good. Probably the best movie you can have on her. Of course, Unblockable Blockbuster is also very good on her because it controls meter, and it also hits a lot of times, so it will help proc her special ability as much as possible. Hatred Install is not great for proccing her special ability, but it's always good on Pinwheels because it does a lot of damage. So those are going to be the main moves you want to go for on her. Death Crawl, Hatred Install is fine, Thresher is great, Cruel Lily is great, Unblockable Blockbuster is great. So yeah, those are going to be what you're going to want to go with on her, and you're just going to want to abuse her when you can take full advantage of her bleed. She's not exactly like Badhair Day, whereas she can also do some damage herself, but she's not like Coulson's where she's purely damage based. She's kind of a mix of fighters between damage and bleed. But what's also good about her is that she can help take down the buff fighters, so I put her at number 2 for beginners. And probably a lot of you saw this coming. I just featured her in a video the other day. But number 1 is definitely going to be Sheltered Parasol. Sheltered Parasol is just so good, especially for beginners. It's really insane because, yes, Primed Parasol is better than her in damage, but Sheltered costs a fraction of the cost that Primed does. And she is very, very good. Sheltered Parasol, not like the Bleed Fighter, she is again a pure offensive fighter, focused solely on damage, basically. And her abilities here are going to increase crit rates for her and all her teammates. And on critical hits, she's going to gain Enrage for a few seconds. Marquee ability is pretty important on her, but you don't need it to make her very strong. She can be very strong without it. However, if you can get it best, that's the best because it's very, very good. And when you get there, you definitely want to go critical mass route because she already has a boost to her crit rate, and just taking full advantage of those high damage critical hits is going to be how you use her to her full effect. So definitely you want to go critical mass rate to add crit damage per active tier. As for her stats, of course, the staple, you definitely want to go with the staple offensive fighter stats. Attack, piercing, those are what you really want to go for. You don't need accuracy because you're not really going to be trying to land any debuffs with her, but attack and piercing are definitely the routes you want to go. Meter gain as well, of course. Meter gain is insane. Now, you can actually splash some crit stats in on her as well. Crit rate, I find this one to be useful to build up a little bit. It's not a huge deal because she's already boosting her own crit rate, but adding some crit rate to her is pretty good. And obviously crit damage, take advantage of that boosted crit rate is very, very important as well. So these stats are also quite important on her. Of course, defense and HP are never bad to have on her, but they're not the primary focus. You want to lean toward the offensive stats first, if you can. As for moves, you're just going to want big damage moves on her. There's nothing that really fits with her playstyle. Like, you don't need a lot of hit moves, because although it is useful because she'll critical hit more that way, but if you have a decent amount of crit rate plus her ability, she'll be critting all the time anyway. So you want to lean towards some big damage moves. Unblockable I find amazing on her because she'll instantly have +5 in range as soon as she uses it, because the thing hits so many times, she'll critical hit a bunch right away, and she'll just have a +5 in range. So Unblockable Blockbuster is amazing. Inferno or Motor Brigade is also very good because it hits multiple times, and it's just a big damage move. Canopy Bounce is a little bit iffy because like it only hits a couple times, but I mean it doesn't really fit in with her kit of wanting to hit a lot and build up the enrages, but it's still a need. It's a must on all Parasols. It's so good because it can remove the buffs and it's such a good combo tool. And then for single hit moves that can do a lot of damage when critting and boosted from the enrage, Napalm Shot and Silent Scope, amazing moves that can do a lot of damage if you land the crits with the built-up enrage. There's like one, no, I think that's it. You can bring Napalm Shot on her, but it really doesn't. It's a pretty big waste in my opinion, because you're not going to be wanting them to spawn tiers unless you have that marquee ability, and even then you're probably going to want to use the slot for a better move. So I would shy away from the moves like Napalm Shower. Napalm Trigger is not a big one either because she doesn't actually gain anything from active tiers like some Parasols do. Eager Dive is not bad, but it won't help her deal a lot of damage, so you can do what you want with that move. But again, Unblockable, Canopy Bounce, Motor Brigade, Napalm Shot, and Silent Scope are very good. And as it goes for the basic playstyle, you're just going to want to play safe until you can land a hit on the opponent and then extend that combo as long as you can to take full advantage of her enrage boosts and critical hit boosts. So that is going to be the #1 spot. She is absolutely fantastic. If you want to see her in action, go check out a video I did just a couple days ago that Skullgirls Mobile actually shouted out on their social medias. Thank you to the guys over there for that. That was nice. But if you want to see Sheltered in action, check out the video I did just a few days ago on her. She's very strong. And if you wanted to use any of these fighters, just go ahead and follow the tips I gave you. If you have any specific comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer. Besides that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helps. I will be making more guides and gameplay videos soon. I hope this helped you guys, and you will check out more of my videos. Anyway, yeah, comment down below. Love y'all. Hope you enjoyed the video.